Mr. Mike Milanov, what a pleasure it is to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Most welcome. We'd like to get your thoughts on how the event has been so far for you and what you've seen and what you were most excited about.
Yeah, NGSC is crazy. I did a panel on day one and then a keynote on day two in the kind of B-Track arena, talking about Qiddiya gaming and the district and IRL gaming and what it all means. And I can't believe that there's 1,400 people here that we've gathered all around the world. I think the highest attended gaming event of all time on the B2B side. So what I love the most about the event is just the amount of interest from media and everybody discovering Qiddiya for the first time, because it's after launch, it's like one of the first B2B events that we've done. So
of course,
yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, we are all excited, and I believe in your panel yesterday you mentioned that for the first time you're in a place where this is being taken very, very seriously, esports in general. So can you elaborate on that? Because you've been involved in many events worldwide in esports. So what have you seen here that you may have not seen elsewhere, or like basically the differences?
Yeah, I think there's governments around the world which have partnered with esports events in the past. Like for example, Denmark really loves Counter-Strike because of the team activity and because of the Blast series major that happens there. And China has taken a big interest in League of Legends in the past and Honor of Kings in partnership with Tencent. But nobody has really tried to do all of the core enthusiast side across all games, across all categories, and also intimately understand the different communities. So there's like the FPS community, the MOBA community, the RTS community. I don't think anybody has ever understood all of the difference in all the leagues and the sports and the event types, and wanted to not only tackle all of core enthusiasts, but also casual gaming and IP development and supporting the industry truly. So it has been true consistently since the beginning.
That's great. And to try and get a better perspective on, since you've joined Qiddiya in March 2023, how has it been for you so far? And if you're able to elaborate a little bit more on your role and the vision for it in Qiddiya.
Yeah, you always find out more about what's being built at Qiddiya the longer you're at Qiddiya. So when I first started, it was like a very small piece about the district. I think the district was a precinct then. I think in 2022, the district was an idea for a neighborhood. And then it turned into a precinct in 2023, which is slightly bigger than just a neighborhood. And that's when I joined. And then we passionately kept working at it and kept getting guidance from His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman on the vision. And through that vision, we've now turned it into a district. And we've wrapped all of that in the Qiddiya Gaming brand. So Qiddiya Gaming communicates about not only the district, but the Qiddiya Gaming and Esports program throughout the entire city. Because there may be gaming outside of the district too, right?
Of course, yeah.
And so yeah, the more you find out about the other districts and who's announcing what, it becomes very exciting, you know, the more we announce.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even having trying to discover all the plans for Qiddiya can be overwhelming because you have the Dragon Ball Z theme park, and then you have the Six Flags, and you have just many amazing things.
F1.
F1, the track, of course, we can't forget to mention.
I think our website does a pretty good job at it, Qiddiya.com.
Yeah.
There's some things on the map that are still grayed out and in the shadows and in the mist, and it's coming later. So as long as you keep your eye on social and on the website,
of course, it'll be posted.
Yeah, then you kind of can keep track of, okay, Qiddiya Sport, those accounts announced an asset, and the anime side announced an asset, or gaming announced an asset. So there's kind of asset classes and genres and districts, but yeah, it's overwhelming. I mean, if you're building something the size of San Francisco from zero, it's kind of a lot to take in if you haven't been keeping up with the project for a long time.
Of course, yeah. And how does it feel for Qiddiya to be the home of the Esports World Cup next year, and for good?
Well, it wasn't actually next year. I don't know where you got that information.
Okay.
I think eventually the Esports World Cup We'll move to Qiddiya.
Yeah.
We have a lot of work to do before that can happen. I think they have a really great thing going in Riyadh, and they want to grow. So it's not just enough for us to build what exists today or even next year. I think we have to do much, much better. And then we have to convince them. But I think there's a general understanding that that makes a lot of sense, right, for the kingdom. If there's a Giga project with the gaming and esports district, I think it makes a lot of sense for Esports World Cup to be there. But we still have to prove ourselves. We have to prove what we came up with and what we built.
Of course, yeah.
But you know what's good about that is that since we're building, we've co-designed elements of the district with EFG and with EWC, and this then results in it being perfect for the size of the event in a couple of years.
Okay, so we can expect the events and everything to be at the largest scales and the activations and all the.
I would expect, especially in 2030, because that's kind of the Vision 2030 year. Especially then, I would expect very little temporary structures and things that are very permanent and curated for gaming and esports and curated for these event overlays, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, we're extremely excited, so with everything that's been going on, in the world and in Saudi Arabia, focused towards esports, and we're seeing on a global scale, esports, the industry of esports has been just booming over the past few years, and so how does it feel, and what are you most excited about in this current time and era?
I think after 2020, there was a bit of an adjustment in the growth, especially digitally or from home. And so now I would say it's booming, but in a different way. I think there's always a stakeholder in the industry that is doing better than others. So for example, there are examples of these 5-year periods where teams will have issues, but tournament organizers will be booming, or vice versa, or the creator economy, or startup tech, which affects gaming. I think the publishers are pretty much always good, as long as they have good IP, good monetization mechanisms, and a good business model. But yeah, I do think it's booming, and our goal is we have a national gaming and esports strategy for a reason. That is for the kingdom, but many of those initiatives apply globally as well. So I think by focusing so much investment on the kingdom, it naturally is helping the entire industry, because we have the best events, the best partnerships, the best IP, the best Giga projects.
On the note of Giga projects, I'd also like to ask, so based on the activations that we've seen and the amazing events, the amazing milestones, the Giga projects, and taking Qiddiya as the main example here, how do you think this shows how great the esports industry has come, and can it give us a glimpse into the future as to what we can expect on a global scale, going further than the plans and the goals set?
Yeah, I think Vision 2030 is an amazing thing. I think it will only happen once in our lifetime. Before there's Vision 2040, I don't know. Maybe there is one, but I think in looking at it across the kingdom, every Giga project has its own role to play in the kingdom. Maybe not all of them have a role to play in gaming, but definitely a role to play in the kingdom. And seeing that materialize like at hyper speed is a once in a lifetime thing. And so seeing the amount of focus on gaming is really crazy. So I think the future, what it can hold is, I think you can treat Vision 2030 as like phase 1. And then I think it continues from there. Because it's not like we stop after phase 1. We have to continue if you want to continue to be the global leader. But I think it will transform Saudi's brand. I think it will transform the kingdom's participation in a bunch of different conversations around the world. We're already starting with Olympics. We already started with golf. We started with, sports or football or whatever you call it, wherever you're from. And that's only going to continue, gaming and esports, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what we're seeing happening here in the kingdom and the esports activations, the chance for very competitive teams worldwide to meet here in Riyadh and to basically try to compete against the different titles and many different games that were hosted here.
Yeah, and if you were to tell me 10 years ago that there would be a Square Enix Final Fantasy activation brought to you by Qiddiya, which is a Giga project in Riyadh, and if you were to tell me like 60,000 people would go there over the course of a couple of days, I would have just been like, no, that's never going to happen. Like, let's not even think. This is very unrealistic. But that's something I'm very proud of too. The competitive gamers aside and the core enthusiasts aside, like, we're doing this not only for people that love esports or gamers that are super hardcore. We're doing this for the gaming community at large. So it's a very global approach. It's a very thoughtful approach, and we think about co-designing elements of the district with our global partners, and they're from all over the place, from like China to Brazil to Europe to North America to KSA. And I think that approach is right, because you can't be the global undisputed epicenter by only focusing on esports. Esports is only a portion of the pie. So we're focusing on the entire audience.
Of course, and I believe that anyone that really wants to see a great, bright future for gaming or e-gaming is really appreciative of what's going on globally and specifically in Saudi Arabia, to seeing all these esports and all the attention, and to also once again mention what you said at the panel last night, is that it feels great to be somewhere where this is being taken extremely seriously, and we're just all excited for the next step and to see how this is going to shape our gaming future.
100%, yeah.
And we'd like to thank you a lot for your time today, Mr. Milanov. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and we hope you have an amazing time at the final ceremony.
Thanks for having me, and like we say at Qiddiya, don't forget to play life.
Don't forget to play life.